I went to that tour, and y'all went to that tour. Welcome. Well, they clearly need no introduction, but we'll give them one anyway. John Lancie and Gates McFadden. Hello. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for kicking off the what is the first Dallas Band Festival in its new branding. Thanks for being with us. Are those on? Check one, check two. Pop, pop, pop. Here's the on. Oh, there we go. All right. Switching back. All right, here we go. I like that better. So the obvious place to start is Star Trek, but I'm not going to start there. I'm gonna flip the script. I want to start by asking you a question before Star Trek, and really kind of before your acting career, or maybe simultaneously. You were a choreographer, and I was looking at your credits. You were the choreographer and one of the puppeteers on Labyrinth with Jim Henson? And you choreographed the famous ballroom scene with Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie?
Yes, I did have the tough task of teaching David how to do the steps. You know, I had to show him countless times. I'd say, no, let's try it again. Jennifer, move over. Let me try again. It was amazing. I wasn't a puppeteer. I was head of puppet movement. I was a choreographer, and I worked with the Goblins. I worked with all of the puppets. Hoggle, Ludo. I loved Ludo so much. It was a year of my life, actually, and it was before Star Trek. I had done The Muppets Take Manhattan, which I also have on my table, a picture of me. That was like my first film. And I will say one quick anecdote that's so funny. When I went, so it's my first movie, and my agent says, just go up to, this is the Henson organization, and then I said, hi, I'm here for the secretary. She had like 5 lines. And they said, yes, go up to Jim's office. I'm like, wow, this is really cool to audition for movies. Go up to Jim's office, he's there. We just chat, and he goes, thank you so much. And that was it, and I got the part, and I thought, man, I don't even have to audition. Well, meanwhile, it never has been like that since then, because he had heard about me from the guy who did Movement for the Dark Crystal. And he wanted someone who could do acting, because he wanted me to play Jennifer Connelly's mother originally. And they wouldn't let me in British equity. So anyway, he had been sort of pimping me for a couple of years to do, he was giving me little things to sort of check me out. Whoops. I dropped something.
I gotcha.
I don't know, I'm going to drop it again.
That's what I'm here for. I'll pick it up again.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so that just was an interesting story because he had a lot of things in mind, and that is the way he worked. He would plan way ahead, but you wouldn't have a clue what was going on. So, anyway.
Incredible. John, I want to ask you about something I'm sure a lot of us are fans here, if you know about it, but Alien Voices, which was your collaboration with Leonard Nimoy in the 90s, where you adapted sci-fi novels into kind of like old radio dramas. Talk a little bit about, bringing the kind of two minds of Star Trek together for that.
I had directed Leonard and Gates. Actually, what took place was this: is that I was doing a lot of work for a company called LA Theater Works, and we did play readings, sort of radio show readings, and the idea was is that you would get stars to do it. So I had, by that time, I was directing and Benning and some really wonderful actors in just regular shows, but people were coming kind of interestingly. So Susan Rosenberg says to me, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, how do you think that we could get some other money?" I said, "Sci-fi." And she goes, "You." And I said, "Sci-fi." Now I was high enough up in the organization where I could say, "Look, sci-fi. Let's just do it. You'll see." And so she said, "Well, what about War of the Worlds?" I said, "Great." She said, I know Leonard Nimoy. Perfect. I said, "I know the cast of Next Generation. I'll talk to some of them." And we had people around the block. And at the end of that show, begun to have this idea in my head. And at the end of that show, I said, Leonard, did you have a good time? He said, I had a great time. I said, well, I have an idea, and I'd like to pitch it to you. So I went to his office, and I explained to him what I wanted to do. And he said, gee, you know, first of all, he said, I think it's a great idea. I have association with Simon & Schuster, and let's get started. And I said, now, this is not only Simon & Schuster. Once we have a script, and I offer this to any of you for almost any project, once you have done the hard work, in this case, taking a show, a book, and turning it into a script, you then can take that, and even though it's a radio script, you can then turn that into a movie, you can turn it into a television show, and that's exactly what we did. We were able to go to New Line, came to us, and Sci-Fi Channel came to us, and these scripts were all ready to go. So that's how that transpired.
I love it. You know, Star Trek is interesting because it's just had this, it just lives on in different forms with different casts. You both have been able to be a part of, not only, of course, the Next Generation, which is a lot of our generation Star Trek, but the Next Generation films, Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Did either of you expect that you would ever get to live in that universe again in the way you have with Picard?
No, I didn't actually, and I thought it was really crazy that it didn't happen earlier because we are such a great group of people. Honestly, we're all really good friends. I mean, we're on group texts. We know what's happening in each other's lives, and we love to work. And so I think it's great. We were so happy to be back united. It really was fantastic. I loved my whole storyline, which I'm not allowed to really talk about at all, but I hope you're going to love it. It really, to me, is, and Jonathan, I think, feels the same way. It's the best stuff we've ever done. And for everybody, the characters, they've evolved in ways that are super interesting, and we obviously had great fun, when we're acting together and doing Technobabble again, and gee, I miss that Technobabble. And I have a lot of it. But at any rate, it was terrific. I feel it's such a gift, and I feel that way with the fans too. I am someone who's really grown into understanding the importance of Star Trek, and I find I'm just so grateful because our fans are so remarkable and really smart and want the world to be a better place and really care. And I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I've learned so much from people, really, who I meet at the table. There's so many fascinating people who come up and talk to you.
Yeah, I agree. And when I started, you've all heard the story, but it's one that I think of a lot. And that is that I'm watching, this is back on Farpoint, first show. And I'm just watching the setup. We should try something at the studio at the soundstage. And I'm watching the setup, which I enjoy doing. And all of a sudden, a voice behind me says, "You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into." And I turned around, and it was Gene Roddenberry. And I said, "Gene, what are you talking about?" He says, "Well, you will find out." And I feel that I'm finding out all the time. I was in Japan not too long ago, and one of my sons is in the State Department, and he said, the ambassador would like to meet with you. Huge Star Trek fan uses Star Trek as a way to teach inclusion, collaboration, on and on and on. So, for most of us, I dare say, it's entertainment. And it's really from the audience that we begin to understand, oh, this is actually more than just entertainment.
It's bigger than us, and that's what's so wonderful.
Yeah.
To realize that you're really just a small part of something that's really beautiful and difficult, because compromise and tolerance can be difficult, but so
made me wonder. I mean, you know, there's Patrick the leader, and then there's, you know, there's a good, you know, empathetic person, the doctor, the healer, and stuff like that. And I think to myself, what do I have to offer? Except, sit down, I'm taking you to, you know.
Devil's advocate.
That's right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have something to offer because you're like one of only a handful of people that have gotten to like, you know, jump from franchise to franchise within the franchise. So you're